Wish SE up here in New Hampshire. I ordered 3 steel targets you see here from challengetargets.com. I am absolutely blown away with the quality and the design of these targets. There are a couple of features to these targets that really make them outstanding for trainers, someone like me that's going to different places and wants to have movable targets, as well as for someone who just needs to practice. So what I like about them are the fact that it's AR500 steel. The ones you see here are 1/4 inch, so they can be used for rifles, but again, rifles, high power rifles at distance with steel need to be shot at a minimum of 100 yards. With pistols, 10 yards. So, let's talk a little bit about the challenge targets, which are just awesome. So what's great about this design by Challenge Targets is the fact that this plate right here has an attachment on the back. This means this plate, or any of the plates that you can buy for them, simply fit atop a 2x4. Very, very slick design. Your 2x4 is held in place by a bracket right down here. And so with this bracket, what I can do is I can simply unscrew this, right, which is just enough pressure to hold it in place, pop my 2x4 out, and I'm ready to go. I can also adjust the targets for a couple things. One, if I want to have this be a knockdown plate, I can pop out, there's a little lock area right here. This little piece of metal that runs through here has a cotter pin on it. I can pop that out and the plate will fall, the whole target will fall. I can adjust the cant at how far forward the target rides right up here, so I can slide this forward, which means that it's going to take either more rounds to knock it over, or I can have it more vertical. I can also control how far it goes from this screw right here, which is just going to allow the target to go a little bit farther forward. So those features to me are huge because it's really, really flexible. The next thing that is just awesome is the fact that when you go to the range, right, and you're picking up stuff, you're taking stuff, the ability to break this thing down and simply have your 2x4, which you just throw in there, crank it in. You can also have different lengths of 2x4. So you'll note that this 2x4 over here, this backer is a little bit lower than this one. So I can either change the heights of the targets, which means I can have different size 2x4s, different backers, and change those. And that means that I can constantly change out my training and the heights of those targets. We're going to put some rounds on steel to show you this in just a minute and just how they actually work. The forward cant allows the rounds to deflect down. So from a safety standpoint, that's what you want with any steel. You want it with a slight forward bent so that the steel or that the rounds impacting are dispersing downwards from a safety standpoint. The other target that I got is a pepper popper target. And again, using that ability to change that pin in there and pop the pin out allows us to either have a static target, so it's one that's just going to take impact, or actually be a pepper popper that takes knockdown. And because I can change the cant of the forward lean of this target, that means that I can change how resistant that target is to being knocked down. For example, some matches are really fun to shoot when you have a target that you have to put multiple rounds, almost a failure to stop type of target, especially with a 9mm. Now you go with a 45, that's one good reason to, that 230 grain bullet impacting that is more likely to knock it down. The point is you have a great deal of flexibility. So let me show you how this simple cotter pin and pulling that one pin out allows the target to go from being static to a knockdown target. Let's take a look at that right now. So when it comes to changing whether or not this is a static or a takedown target, a knockdown target, I simply pop this pin out right here, pin and cotter pin, and all of a sudden I've got a target that will fall. So once you buy the base and the upper, you can change it to a knockdown target. So I can have those body targets up there also be knockdown targets. Again, if I want to have it be static again, I pop this through, put the cotter pin back in, and we are good to go. So now I've got a static target. Very slick. So we've got steel down here. We've got some at 10, we've got a pepper popper and another chest target out there at about 10 yards, and then down at probably 30 yards we have the other target. So we're just going to put some rounds on it, give you guys a perspective of what that looks like. Steel is great because it's reactive. You don't have to go out, you hear it ring, you can see the target where it hits on the target, and therefore you don't have to paste up or deal with paste. One reason I really like it. Let's take a look. And you can see with the pepper popper, I've actually had it adjusted that I have to give it at the very top with the 9mm. I have to make hits at the very top to knock it down. So had I been shooting a 40 or 45, it probably would have gone down a lot faster. Again, that's one of the nice things about these particular targets is you can adjust the cant of that target being forward, and therefore that gives you the flexibility of creating a target that is a failure to stop target. Basically, you've got to keep shooting it and shooting it in the right place for it to finally go down. Well folks, that's a real quick look at the challenge targets. AR500 steel, very durable, easy setup. I set them up in about 5 minutes for each target in terms of putting the stand together. Very easy, they come in a box, great instructions, very easy to use. There is a great discount if you use the coupon code WISHSE through the end of April 2014. So you get about 3 weeks to take advantage of a very, very nice discount that Challenge Target has offered our subscribers, so you can get a chance to own one of these targets as well. We'll be doing a follow-up of these targets in about 2 weeks or so when we get our next target from Challenge Targets, and when we get that, we'll share that with you. I want to thank all of you for watching, and as always, stay safe.